Meet James Morrison. Net worth, $2.3 billion. CEO of Morrison Industries, a Fortune 500 manufacturing empire spanning 47 count. James had role of luxury cars, private jets, expensive watches, you name it. James walked into the boardroom, his executives all set for his address. He scuffed, and then utters, "Gentlemen, the Shanghai deal is worth $800 million. I don't care if we have to work 24/7 for the next 3 months. Failure is not an option." Mr. Bernard, the human resource manager, replies, "Sir, the employees are already working 70 hours per week, morale is at an all-time low." "Morale doesn't pay for their salaries," James echoes angrily, "results do. Anyone who can't handle the pressure can find another job." An unusual silence filled the hall as the executives, restrained to move before the close of the meeting, all feared for their jobs, hence, maintained calm. This was James Morrison in October 2019. Ruthless. Demanding. Successful. He feared neither God or men and would stop at nothing to achieve his aim. But something happened that made him cry. Maria Santos is 48 years old, a single mother of 3. For 15 years, she has cleaned James Morrison's mansion every single day. But Maria isn't just a housekeeper. She is a woman with wisdom, hidden strength, and a story that will break your heart and heal it at the same time. Every morning before leaving for work, Maria leans down to her 3 young children. Her voice soft and gentle. She whispers, "My babies, Mama has to work late tonight. Mrs. Patterson will watch you. Remember what I always tell you, that you should count your blessings, not your problems, and also remember that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about." She hugs them tightly and adds, "I love you more than all the stars in the sky." Then she steps out into the world. Maria works 3 jobs to survive. After her husband died in a construction accident, she had no safety net, no inheritance, no billionaire friends. In the mornings, she cleans luxury homes in Beverly Hills. In the afternoons, she works at a local grocery store. And at night, she cares for elderly patients in a nursing home, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. She has just 1 day out to spend with her kids. Yet despite the exhaustion, despite the bills, despite the pains, Maria is genuine happiness and thankful. Something many never fully understand about her. James Morrison sits alone in his office, staring at all the financial documents spread across his desk. His expression, stern and furious as his phone begins to ring. He answers aggressively without hesitation. On the other end of the line is Michael Chen, his business partner and best friend of 20 years. "Michael, you better have a damn good explanation for this or else." Michael's voice trembles through the speakerphone. Of course, being friends with James for the past 20 years makes him aware of the situation on ground. "James, I can explain everything. The investments went bad, and I thought I could recover the money before anyone noticed." James grips the phone tighter. $200 million, Michael. $200 million. 20 years of friendship, and you steal from me. Michael rushes to defend himself. "It wasn't like that. I was trying to save the company. The Shanghai deal was falling through, and I thought." James cuts him off. "You're done here. The securities will escort you out in 10 minutes. If I see you near my building again, I'll have you arrested." The line goes dead. James stares at the phone, and then, for the first time in 25 years, James Morrison breaks down and cries. At 11:47 p.m. inside James Morrison's Beverly Hills mansion, while the rest of the city slept behind gated walls and glowing skyline lights, James sat alone in his massive kitchen, a whiskey bottle on the counter. His reflection staring back at him from polished marble surfaces. The house was silent. Too silent. James spoke aloud, not to anyone, but to himself. 50 years old. Billions of dollars. And I'm sitting here alone like a pathetic old man. What's the point of any of these? At that moment, the sound of keys echoed softly from the hallway. James was too troubled while sipping his whiskey, hence never noticed the steps. And suddenly Maria Santos stepped into the kitchen, holding her handbag close. She spoke carefully, respectfully. "Mr. James. I'm sorry, I forgot my reading glasses in the library. I didn't know you were here. James turned, his words slightly slurred, his guard completely gone. Maria. Perfect timing. Join me for a drink. Let's celebrate my complete and total failure as a human being. Maria didn't move closer, she felt concern as her voice echoed. Sir, are you all right? James laughed bitterly, then let the truth spill. All right. My best friend stole $200 million from me. My wife left me 3 years ago. My kids won't return my phone calls. I have everything and nothing at the same time. How's that for all right? Maria slowly sat across from him. After a brief pause, she asked gently. Mr. James, can I ask you something? James nodded. Shoot, he replied. Maria looked at him, not as an employer, but as a human being. When was the last time you were truly happy? James opened his mouth, then stopped, his reaction cold but punchy. The silence stretched, and finally, his voice cracked as he stammered. I don't remember. That moment, that single admission, changed both of their lives forever. Maria later broke the silence as she uttered with deep concern. Mr. James, you count your losses every day. When last did you count your blessings? James scoffed quietly. Blessings. Maria, I just lost $200 million and my best friend in the same day. What blessings? Maria reached into her purse. May I show you something? She pulled out a small, worn notebook, its pages creased, its edges softened by time. This is my gratitude journal. Every single day for 15 years, I write 3 things I'm thankful for. Even on the worst days. James looked at her, disbelief clear on his face. You make minimum wage, you work 3 jobs, you're raising 3 kids alone. What could you possibly have to be grateful for? Maria opened the notebook and read out each page warmly and loudly. Maria opened her notebook. Today I'm grateful for 1. My son Carlos got accepted to community college. 2. Mrs. Henderson at the nursing home smiled for the first time in months when I sang to her. 3. Mr. James trusted me enough to let me see him when he's vulnerable. James stared at her. You're grateful for this conversation? Maria nodded. Mr. James, gratitude isn't about your circumstances. It's about your perspective. Then Maria did something no consultant, therapist, or executive coach had ever done. She gave James homework. For the next 7 days, I want you to write down 3 things you're grateful for each morning. Not things you bought or achieved. Things that made you feel something good inside. James immediately objected. Maria, I don't have time for, Maria interrupted him calmly. You have time to sit here drinking whiskey and feeling sorry for yourself, right? If you do have time for this, then, you have time to be grateful too. James paused. Then asked quietly. Why do you care what happens to me? Maria didn't hesitate. Because in 15 years of working for you, I've watched you become more successful and less happy every single year. Success without happiness is just expensive misery. The next morning, James Morrison woke up with the worst hangover of his life and a hazy memory of promising his housekeeper he'd keep a gratitude journal. Any reasonable billionaire would have forgotten about it. But something about Maria's words lingered. Sitting at his desk, James stared at a leather notebook. He muttered to himself, this is ridiculous. I am a Fortune 500 CEO writing in a diary like a teenager. Still, he picked up the pen. He wrote. Today, December 16th. 3 things I'm grateful for. 1. I'm alive. That's something, I guess. 2. Maria cared enough to talk to me last night instead of just leaving. 3. I still have my health. He closed the notebook. This is stupid. He bragged. By day 3, something shifted. On the 3rd day, James wrote. Today I'm grateful for the sunrise I actually noticed while drinking my coffee. The fact that my security guard, Tony, always says good morning with a genuine smile. The realization that I haven't paid attention to these things in years. By day 5, he wrote. Today, I'm grateful for my assistant, Sarah, staying late to help with the crisis management. She didn't have to do that. I am grateful for the phone call from my daughter, first time in 6 months. And the fact that Maria was right. This stupid journal is actually working. By day 7, James was ready for the next lesson. But he had no idea what Maria was about to reveal. 1 week later, while Maria prepared lunch in the kitchen, as James entered, he spoke sincerely. Maria, I wanted to thank you. This gratitude thing, it's actually helping. Maria smiled. Good. Are you ready for the next lesson? James raised an eyebrow. There's more? He asked, though flabbergasted. Maria asked calmly, then continued. Mr. James, what's the difference between being rich and being wealthy? James answered without hesitation. They're the same thing. Maria shook her head. Rich is when you have enough. Wealthy is when you have enough to share. James frowned. That doesn't make sense. I have billions of dollars. If that's not wealthy, what is? Maria asked one final question. How much of your money brings joy to others? James paused. I employ thousands of people. Maria looked at him steadily. Do they love coming to work? Do they feel valued? Do they go home happy? Another pause. James answered honestly. Probably not. Maria spoke gently, but firmly. Then you're rich, but not wealthy. Standing in the kitchen, Maria hesitated for a moment. Then she spoke quietly. Can I tell you a secret I've never told anyone? James looked at her, surprised, but sincere. Of course. Maria took a deep breath, then uttered. I donate 10% of everything I earn to charity. Every month for 15 years. James froze. Maria, you make minimum wage. You have 3 kids to support. How can you possibly give money away? Maria's voice was calm and steady. Because the moment you start hoarding everything for yourself, you stop being wealthy and start being poor, no matter how much money you have. She reached into her bag and laid several folded papers on the counter. Donation receipts. Last month, I donated $127 to the Children's Hospital. The month before, $134 to the homeless shelter. It's not much, but... James interrupted her, stunned. Wait. You donated more than I did last year, percentage-wise. Maria met his eyes. It's not about the amount, Mr. James. It's about the intention. There's something else. For the past 5 years, I've been taking night classes. James blinked. Night classes. Business administration. I graduated last month with a 4.0 GPA. James stared at her in disbelief. You have a business degree. Maria nodded. I wanted to understand the world of business better. Why you were so cruel. Did business make people behave that way? Funny enough, I found that it didn't. That your cruelty was totally pride and personality prone. In that moment, James realized something profound. The woman he had seen as his housekeeper had been quietly studying him, his company, and his decisions for years. Waiting patiently for the moment he would finally be ready to listen. James felt broken. For the first time he wept uncontrollably in the presence of a human. Now, he understood that, the pressure to succeed had changed him totally into a figure that many saw as inhumane. And that because of that, his family and his closet friends had left him. He thought that being arrogant was power, but at 50, he learnt that his quest for power had destroyed the most important part of him. The following week, James Morrison walked into his company headquarters with a completely new perspective. Within hours, every employee was summoned to an all-hands meeting. The auditorium was packed. James stepped to the podium. His voice was steady, but humbled. Ladies and gentlemen, he uttered. I've been your CEO for 15 years. In that time, we've grown from a $50 million company to a multi-billion-dollar empire. But I've failed you as a leader. A murmur rippled through the crowd. James continued. Effective immediately, we're implementing several changes. First, profit sharing. Every employee will receive 5% of annual profits as a bonus. The crowd murmured among themselves, then applauded. Second, flexible work arrangements. No more mandatory 70-hour weeks. We're hiring more staff so everyone can have a work-life balance. The applause grew louder. Thirdly, education funds. The company will pay for any employee's children to attend college, trade school, or vocational training. The room erupted into a standing ovation. From the crowd, one voice shouted, "Mr. Morrison, what changed your mind?" James smiled. "Someone taught me the difference between being rich and being wealthy. And I decided I wanted to be wealthy." The impact spun immediately. Within 6 months, employee satisfaction increased by 400%. Productivity increased by 300%. Employee turnover dropped by 85%. Company profits rose by 150%. The employees were stunned as they shared their stories. One said, "I've worked here for 12 years. I've never seen Mr. Morrison smile until this year. Now he knows everyone's name and asks about our families." "That's great," he added. Another muttered, "My daughter can go to college now because of the education fund. I cried when I got the letter." A third added, "This doesn't feel like work anymore. It feels like family." One evening, James sat at his dining table with his ex-wife and their 2 adult children. No phone. No distractions. His daughter, Melissa, looked at him closely. "Dad, I have to say, I never thought I'd see you like this." James smiled. "Like what?" "Happy. Present. Like you actually want to be here instead of checking your phone every 5 minutes." Linda, his ex-wife, leaned forward. "James, what happened to you? And don't say therapy, because I tried to get you into therapy for years." James answered honestly. "Maria happened to me." Linda frowned slightly. "Your housekeeper?" James shook his head. "My teacher." James's family was healing. His company was thriving. His life finally felt full, which was a great experience for him. 6 months later, James stood in the kitchen with Maria. He spoke earnestly. "Maria, I've been thinking. I want to give you something. A bonus. $1 million. Maria shook her head. "That's very generous, but I can't accept it." James was confused. "Why not? You changed my life. You saved my company. You brought my family back together." Maria answered softly. "Because money isn't what you owe me." James swallowed. "Then what?" Maria took a deep breath. "The truth." James frowned. "What truth?" She met his eyes. "I haven't been completely honest with you, Mr. James." Maria paused for a while, then she continued. "Before I worked for you, I was doing well too as a CEO." James's jaw dropped. "What?" Santos Industries. It was a small manufacturing company in Mexico. I built it from nothing to $50 million in revenue." James shook his head in disbelief. That's impossible." Maria continued. "I lost everything in the 2008 financial crisis. Poor investments, bad partners, economic collapse. I went from CEO to bankrupt in 6 months. I came to America with nothing but my children and started over." James was astonished at her admission. He thought for a while, then asked, "If you were truly a CEO and knew about business before now, why did you lie that you took a course on business administration in order to better understand why I was arrogant? I thought you would understood the intricacies of organizational management." Maria sobbed, then responded, "I took the course to cover up my lapses in knowledge. Observing you, your mood and charisma, I thought arrogance or pride was needed to succeed in the business industry. But then, I realized that my business failed because of the bad choices I made. But then, I learned better, how to treat people, management skills, and many others." James, shocked, muttered, "So you've been a CEO all these while?" "Former CEO instead. I've been your housekeeper for 15 years because that's what life required of me," she interrupted. James struggled to process it. "Why didn't you tell me?" Maria answered truthfully. Because you weren't ready to learn from someone you saw as beneath you. You had to lose a fortune just like I did. James finally understood. Maria hadn't just been teaching him lessons. She had been sharing her own journey from success to failure to true wealth. Maria spoke gently. The final lesson, Mr. James. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Treat them with kindness, because you never know who might be your teacher in disguise. James's voice broke. Maria, I'm so sorry. All these years, I treated you like. Maria stopped him. Like a housekeeper. Which is what I was. There's no shame in honest work, Mr. James. The shame is in not treating honest workers with dignity. James asked quietly. What can I do? How can I make this right? Maria smiled. You already have. You learned the lessons. You changed your company. You healed your family. That's all I ever wanted. James hesitated, then asked. Will you consider being my business partner? Officially. Maria's smile grew. Accepted, she replied. 6 months later, Maria Santos was named Chief Operating Officer of Morrison Industries. From then onward, the company grew and was widely recognized as one of the best companies to work for in America. Together, James and Maria co-founded the Hidden Teachers Foundation, an organization dedicated to providing scholarships for working-class adults to pursue business education. Since its creation, the foundation has helped over 10,000 people return to school. Former janitors who became engineers. Former housekeepers who became managers. Former security guards who became executives. In an interview, James reflects on what he learned. Maria taught me that wisdom doesn't come with a price tag. Some of the smartest people I know are doing jobs that the society undervalues. Our job is to find them and lift them up. Maria echoes the same belief in her own interview. Success isn't about climbing over people. It's about lifting them up with you. Now, James Morrison measures wealth differently, not by what he owns, but by how many lives he touched. In Maria's gratitude journal, the final entry reads, Today I'm grateful that Mr. James finally learned the most important lesson of all, that every person has value, every story matters, and everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. So the next time you meet someone, your Uber driver, security guard, etc., remember that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Remember also that your greatest teacher might be hiding in plain sight.
If you enjoyed the story, kindly smash the like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell, as we have many other incredible stories for you. Also, I challenge you to find one person in your life you may have overlooked. Someone whose wisdom you've never truly tapped into. Have a real conversation with them. You might be surprised by what you learn. Share your experience in the comments below. Who was your hidden teacher? I will read every comment and respond to all.